know it works. Okay. And if I put my finger over the vacuum port, it should remain open. And you see it doesn't. So the diaphragm inside this little recirculation door actuator must have a hole in it, or it's bad or something. One way or another, it's not holding the vacuum. As you can see again. All right, so I am here today diagnosing an issue with the red F-150's AC system. The problem is that when you switch from normal to max, airflow gets directed to the floor or the defrost, which means it's losing its vacuum is what it's doing. And I have come to the conclusion that the vacuum motor that opens and closes the fresh air door has gone defective. I've been looking around online to see if I can get a replacement, and I don't know if they're available, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I might have to hit junkyards up. Okay, so anyway, and I also thought that while I'm here, I'll show you some other problem childs to look for, because I've seen people ask and make mentions of having problems with the max mode in their AC system not working, and a lot of times the vacuum line goes bad. It's a little old hard plastic line, and it gets brittle over time and develops holes. My blue F-150 developed the problem, and I just had to put a new vacuum line on it. I thought that was a problem here, but it's not. I had to replace the whole vacuum actuator, vacuum motor, vacuum diaphragm, blend door actuator. It's called several things among many of the auto manufacturers. Okay, so also I'll just go ahead and show you some of the other stuff to look for too. Okay, you'll want to check your vacuum line here. This is the most trouble-prone spot. Excuse me. They'll get brittle and they'll develop cracks all along this line. And when it does, it causes a vacuum leak, and you'll have you'll switch to defrost, or the blend door won't even open in most cases, and that will be a problem. Some people will say, just go ahead and cut it back as far as you can, just pin a new rubber line on it. And my suggestion is, if you can get this grommet out, sometimes it's a rubber grommet, sometimes they get hard. And if you can just run a new line all the way up from the connector inside, all the way out here, you'll prolong the repair. Most of the time, that'll be a permanent, whereas if you just splice onto it, that's just a band-aid. You'll also want to check the vacuum line. There's a small manifold that goes up underneath the cowl, and it's this one here. Check, make sure it's not, doesn't have any holes rubbed into it, because right there where it lays on the evaporator housing is a good spot. You see it's rubbed there a little bit, but not enough to have hurt anything. Of course, when you do that, you'll lose reserve vacuum. No, I take that back. You won't lose reserve vacuum. You'll lose all modes, because that is the main feeder. Okay. And this is the reservoir. Now, my 91 has it on the side of the evaporator housing. And you'll want to check, make sure there's no holes or anything, make sure the line is good to it. Now, if all that is good and you're still having a problem, then it's time to investigate farther inside. Okay, so now you're inside, and check your vacuum lines as they come through the inside of the grommet, you see me wiggling them right there. Sometimes they will crack. Well, yeah, I just blocked my light. I'll try that again. It'll crack right along up where they go through the grommet. And when it does, you'll get a vacuum leak. You know, make sure there's nothing in there holding, you know, that blend door shut too. That could be also a problem. Make sure you don't have anything like stray holes in the evaporator case or HVAC case, such as you see here. That will cause an air leak. And also, here's the coupler where it connects together. You'll want to check that, make sure it snaps together real good and snug, and check and make sure this vacuum line has no holes in it or rips or cuts or anything. Usually, even though it's a hard plastic line, they tend to survive pretty well inside. So you really shouldn't have to worry too much about that. I'm not going to say that they don't break, that you just don't have that as commonly. So, all right. So if everything there looks good and you don't see anything suspect, you know, and your vacuum motor's outside's working good, it's a good possibility that your selector valve is bad. And that involves removing the control panel out. It's not hard. Okay, and see what happens when I turn the AC on to max. You'll see the blend door open just a little bit, but after a few seconds it will snap shut, or it will begin to close shut. Now when it does that is when it starts bleeding off on the defrost. Alright, those are some simple things to look for when you having problems with the AC. Always just check your vacuum lines first. Then, you know, step up to your vacuum motors or actuators. Then, you know, if all of that does look good, then it's time to, you know, consider replacing the selector valve. They're not too hard. I'm probably going to go ahead and replace one on this anyway, on kind of the fact that it does have problem. It's slow to switch. So I know that I do know that the selector valve is a little weak. I had a spare. I don't know what I did with it. Well, it's the way it works. Okay, so that's about all. I think what I'm going to do is look around and see if I can find another. I used to have one. I don't know what I did with it. Another actuator. I did a repair on a system here a while back and I had to replace the whole case, and that was one of the parts I'd saved. I don't know what I did with it. Okay, well anyway, so I hope that, you know, I'm able to solve any future problems. Like I said, I've seen, you know, people mention that a lot, and those are the things to look at. So anyway, it's Memorial Day weekend, TGIF. I think I had something going on tonight. I don't remember what it was. Oh well, it could have been much. Okay, so hope everyone has a good weekend, and thanks for watching.